Right, good afternoon. I'm at 12:15, so we're going to run this session to 1 o'clock. And we're trying to, the point of this session is trying to really get at the how to develop a sports economy as something that's very close to us here at Yasmin Circuit. Because although we have a, dare I say, a fantastic circuit, it's not about the hard stuff. It's about what you can build around it and the economy that you can create to make the business around the physical, the hard asset work. So it's something very close to us here at Yasmin Circuit and my heart. So I really want to get into it. So we'll spend the next 45 minutes getting into this subject of how to develop a sports economy. And the sort of themes I want to talk about: talent, the importance of grassroots investment, the public-private investments, how to galvanize the health of the nation and the next generation of sports stars. So we really want to get into how you can create that economy. Now, to help me do that, I have the panelists before you just now. Ryan Bode has a degree in Public Relations and Development Studies from Exeter University and a Master of Science in Research from Manchester Metropolitan University. His role is at Josur Institute in Doha is to support the delivery and development of the institute by setting the education and training strategy, creating training and development products and services, recruiting high-caliber delegates, and ensuring that the training blends academic and practical learning with tangible business benefits. His previous roles include also 5 years as head of practice, sport development, education, and mass participation at IMG. So please welcome Ryan. If I could also introduce Fahad Ali Al-Shamsi. Fahad Ali Al-Shamsi is General Secretary of Asia Jiu-Jitsu Union and UAE Jiu-Jitsu Federation Board Member and CEO. He held positions of Head of Event Department and Manager of Marketing Communications at Abu Dhabi Sports Council, and he was, for 17 years, a professional footballer, so he brings a competitive edge to this business conversation. I suspect that our next panelist is familiar to you all. Of course, Khalid Al-Khabaisi, who certainly brings a competitive edge to the panel today. Khalid has a permanent place in the motor racing record books as the first Emirati driver to be part of the team achieving outright victory in the 24-hour motorsport event at Dubai. Al-Khabaisi achieved his breakthrough win at the Dubai Autodrome in January 2012 and repeated it again in 2013. Sadly, that hat trick still eludes him, but it's soon, right? It's coming soon. Also, Al-Khabaisi is the first Emirati Arab to make history in circuit racing as he competes in the World Endurance Championship for a complete season since 2014, where he finished third place in the Teams Championship and became the first Emirati to finish the legendary 24 hours or Le Mans in second place. Importantly, I think he founded the Daman Speed Academy in 2013 as a dedicated grassroots initiative by Abu Dhabi Racing, supported by our national health insurer, Daman. And finally, and with total transparency, Ahmed, I know you've stepped in. Yeah. Ahmed Ibrahim Al-Tayeb is Director of Sports and Technical Affairs at the National Olympic Committee. I don't have your bio, so perhaps I could start with you by asking us to just give us a quick background of yourself, the National Olympic Committee, and if I could then address the first question to you, which is in relation to the National Sports Day in the UAE. Yeah. If you could tell us about the launch of the National Sports Day, which of course 25th of November last year was the first time it launched.
As you know, first of all, I'm really happy to be in the forum. And always they say the good things happen when you are not planned, because I'm here as an audience, but I'm here now on the stage and talking with you guys. And I'm happy to be in the forum to talk about the sports day. They start, our High Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, start this initiative with a huge boom, and the next day all the society was talking about the sport day. After that, our president, Sheikh Ahmed bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, announced that the sports day will be on 25th of November for every year. I think the huge thing that sports play in our society, it's big. So the thing is, society needs leadership and to follow and push the sport in all terms. It was very clear for us that our leadership intention to build a great message for everyone in the society that sports is very important to accomplish our goals. So that's what happened, and it was very turned out from this sports day.
And can you tell us how did the first event play out for you against your expectations, and then how might it develop for this year?
If you witnessed the sports day, it was like all the stakeholders from all Emirates, they participate in the sports day. All councils, like Dubai Sports Council, Abu Dhabi Sports Council, and all the Emirates, they have their own activities. And these activities give for all categories in the society, like adult and all people, young people, youth, male, female, everyone has his own things to participate in the sport. It was really organized, and we did a survey to see what was the reaction of the society for the sport day, and I think the satisfaction was huge. We got 86% of satisfactory, and that gave us a clear image that sports day will continue to push the society towards achievements.
Great. Ryan, if I may go to you and ask, education and training, what role does education and training play in the development of the sports economy?
I think education and training, the role we play actually isn't that different from industry. I think we have a role as a catalyst and a partner with industry, and it's a role that everyone in this room shares, whether they're educators, whether they're industry. And the first starting bit is about providing inspiration and awareness, and I think that especially in the region, the actual business of sport, the industry, the economic opportunities, and my distinguished fellow panelists are all people who really understand it. But it is something that for a lot of people, the breadth of the opportunity is something that people aren't aware of. They may be aware of World Cups, but all the entrepreneurial opportunities, earlier panels today talking about SMEs, and education's role, probably first and foremostly, is about inspiration and awareness. And then secondly to that, then there is that specific piece about knowledge and skilling, but that can't be devoid of practice. It has to be done in partnership with practice, especially to meet the goals of the acceleration that we're doing here, is that we can't have people who just know, we have to have people who know and can apply. And that's a real phase shift, I think, in traditional education models, is that it's really key that the sector develops it and then brings the network together. I remember in Doha, the first time we brought the stadium and venues kind of community together, we got 76 people together, and we asked the question, how many people in the room can know 10 people? And if you, well, we started with one, and everyone's hand went up, 2 people, 3 people. By the time we got to 6, out of 76 people, there was 5 hands in the air, and only one person knew more than 10 people in the room. So I think there's a key role of bringing the communities together, sharing information, and creating relevant inputs. Those inputs can be phenomenal human capital, phenomenal people, but also research and knowledge. A few of us were talking earlier, as example, that something that we're doing, going to reveal soon, is a study of 17 countries in sports and events in the region. And that knowledge is incredibly important because of the fact that it will feed the growth. It will allow industry to make better decisions, people to be better inspired, and that's really a key role for education in this sector, is to inspire, to aware, to create talent, and generate inputs that are of real relevance to the sector.
And the key driving factors for how do you inspire people?
I mean, inspiration will be different for different.
Is it soft stuff? Is it hard stuff? Is it the fantastic venues? Is it great programs?
It ranges. I think it starts with literally making clear the opportunity, whether the scale is small or large, making people understand it can be accessible, but also that the opportunities can be at the highest levels, whether that's to compete in Le Mans, whether that is to work on the biggest stages, whether it's FIFA 2022 in Qatar, or whether it's events like Dubai 2020 or 2019 here. And then it's giving them access, getting those things. And I'll give you an example. Last week, the proudest moment for me in my week last week was going to the AFC Under-23 Championships and walking through the tills and seeing a certificate student who was there, inspired, working, developing his skills. And you have to create those opportunities, and that's why it is a partnership between industry and academia and sport. And I think the shift is professionally minded, so professional development, education, academically minded, because we really have to serve the sector.
Okay, I'll come back to actually how you bridge the academic with the practical. If I could first go to Khalid. As a sportsman and a businessman, how important do you believe world-class facilities are to creating champions?
Well, they definitely help. It's important to have them, and actually that's how I got into the sport. When this amazing facility was being built to host the first Formula One event just over 6 years ago, and I've been actively involved ever since, luckily. In my 7 years in the sport, what I see actually is more important, which you mentioned as you started out, is the software that goes with this hardware, and that's world-class championships. I'd say if you can compare to having the best football stadiums here, and then you have only one world-class match taking place in them, you won't be able to build world-class teams or world-class players. You need the Premier Divisions, you need the first and second divisions, you need the under-17, even school divisions and academies to foster and channel talent and develop them to hopefully create a champion in the future. And same thing goes with motorsports. You would need those series at the entry level, karting, which we luckily have a good karting championship here, but also at the higher levels and entry level single-seaters, where you need to foster and support it and have many stakeholders work together to make it happen. And we all stand to benefit after that as well. And what's, to me, the most important thing to create champions in this sector is to have the intent to do so, and to have the different stakeholders working very, very closely, because it's not easy to reach that goal, and to need a lot of effort and investment to hopefully one day come up with a champion that can make us all proud.
That word intent, I think, is really interesting, because following it comes stakeholders working together, long-term objectives, medium-term objectives, investment, absolutely, inspiration, intent. Fahad, if I may ask you from Jiu-Jitsu perspective, can you give us an insight into how the Jiu-Jitsu Federation has successfully grown in participation of the sport? And I'm mindful of the fact that if you could share with us, what are the levels of participation now? And I believe your target for 2020 is 100,000 participants.
So, excuse me, I'm going to answer in Arabic, just to make it... في البداية أنا أعتقد أن قبل ما أتكلم عن رؤية الاتحاد جيجيتسو كان عندنا تحديات حقيقية قبل ما نبدأ جيجيتسو. أول تحدي كان كلمة جيجيتسو. كانت تحدي بالنسبة للجميع، شو جيجيتسو وليه جيجيتسو؟ أنا يمكن وأنا شخصيا لأني كنت جاي من عالم كرة القدم، كنت أسأل شو الفرق بين الجيجيتسو وبين الرياضات الثانية ورياضة كرة القدم. أبغى أؤكد على شيء، أن رياضة الجيجيتسو رؤيتنا كانت مبنية ومتوافقة مع رؤية أبو ظبي 2030 ورؤية مجلس أبو ظبي الرياضي بخلق بيئة رياضية تنافسية تعزز قيم الموجودة في الرياضة بشكل عام. وممكن كيف قدرنا نبدا رياضه جيجيتسو بهذا الحجم اللي وصلنا له اليوم؟ ابغى اكد ان بدايتنا الفعليه كانت في 2012. البدايه كانت بارقام قليله من المدربين واللاعبين. اليوم عندنا هدف مرسوم واضح ان نوصل ل 100,000 ممارس لهذه الرياضه. في نفس الوقت هذا بعد من الابعاد اللي عندها اهميه بالنسبه لنا كاتحاد، ان نعزز مفهوم الرياضه كاسلوب حياه، نعزز الرياضه وقيم الرياضه بشكل عام من خلال الرياضه. في صوره اللي قبلها كانت تعطينا الفرق في البدايه، نحن يمكن بدينا برقم قليل جدا من حيث ممارسين الرياضه، وابغى اقول نحن حبينا نبدا من البدايه، كانت بدايتنا من خلال برنامج مدرسي. وارجع واذكر بتصريح كان لرئيس الوزراء البريطاني بعد اولمبياد لندن، لما تحدث بشكل واضح للاعلام عشان نستثمر في الرياضه الاولمبيه لابد ان نعزز برامج المدرسيه التنافسيه في نفس الرياضات. وباكد ان 70% من الميداليات اللي حصلت عليها بريطانيا في 2012 كانت من خلال المدارس المتخصصه برياضات او التي تدعم الرياضات التنافسيه في هذاك الوقت. نحن يمكن بدينا من 2005. اليوم عدد الممارسين الفعليين عندنا 52,000، وانا اعتقد ان هذا رقم كبير مقارنه بالرياضات الثانيه. كيف قدرنا نوصل؟ انا اعتقد كانت في اليات عمل واضحه. مثل ما قلت في تحديات، لكن قدرنا من خلال تعزيز القيم الموجوده في الرياضه. الرياضه نفسها تحمل كثير من القيم يمكن ما نحصلها في الرياضات الثانيه. انا شخصيا لما سالت شو الفرق بين جيجيتسو وكره القدم، قلت في كره القدم انا كنت جزء من مجموعه، جزء يعني انترتينمنت اكثر ما هو شيء ثاني. كان جوابي. لكن في الجيجيتسو اللي ما الجيجيتسو هو جزء من ممارسه، جزء من تغيير سلوك، جزء من تغيير على المستوى الصحي، جزء من تغيير على المستوى الشخصي. انا اشوف ان قناعه الناس، ايمان الناس برياضه جيجيتسو بعد 5 سنوات اكثر بكثير من القياس او من القياسات اللي كنا متوقعينها والتوقعات اللي بقولها. تحدثنا كثير يمكن عن اليات نشر الرياضه. تحدث الكثير من الزملاء ان عن دور التسويق ودور الترويج بشكل عام. انا بدي اقول نحن في اتحاد امارات الجيجيتسو حطينا فرق واضح وكبير بين التسويق بمفهومه التجاري وبين التسويق بمفهومه الاجتماعي. انا اعتقد ان عشان تمارس تسويق لابد انك تعظم ارباحك ومبيعاتك. الهدف من التسويق التجاري هو تبادل منفعه بين طرف وطرف اخر. في التسويق الاجتماعي هو السعي لتغيير سلوك معين او منع سلوك معين. ساهمنا نعتقد نحن بجزء بسيط في اتحاد امارات الجيجيتسو مع المؤسسات الرياضيه الثانيه ان نعزز مفاهيم الصحه، مفاهيم الانتماء، مفاهيم السلوك الغذائي. في كثير من المفاهيم اللي اساسا الرياضه بنيت عليها حاولنا نعززها في رياضه الجيجيتسو من خلال احداث ومن خلال شركاء كانوا واضحين معنا من البدايه. انا اعتقد ان شركائنا اللي نعتبرهم جزء مهم من تطور جيجيتسو هم شركاء لم ينظروا للجانب الربحي ولا الفائده، هم شركاء امنوا ايمان تام بالقيم الموجوده في رياضه الجيجيتسو.
I mean, is that a necessary part of your success within the federation? The fact that you have a broader, you consider yourselves to have a broader remit beyond the sport into much more of a cultural remit. Is that the necessary part of the success?
اهم جانب انا اعتقد انه هي البدايه الصحيحه في المكان المناسب. لن تتطور الرياضه بشكل عام الا اذا كانت من خلال الطلاب، من خلال المدارس، من خلال الشريحه الاكبر. بعد ذلك ممارسه الرياضه من خلال نوادي المنافسات. انا اعتقد ان اليوم حتى وضوح الخطه بالنسبه للجيجيتسو سهلت على الناس في تقبل رياضه الجيجيتسو، في انه يكونون جزء من رياضه الجيجيتسو. عندنا برنامج مدرسي من خلال كل الحصص او كل المدارس، 130 مدرسه، برنامج مدرسي حصه في كل اسبوع. عندنا ما بعد افتر سكول كلاسز، عندنا أندية ومراكز تمارس فيها الرياضة، وبعد ذلك عندنا منتخبات. عندنا أحداث رياضية بدأت ب7 أحداث في السنة، صارت 13 حدث محلي، وهذه حجم كفاية لممارسين ومحبين الرياضة أنهم يشاركون فيها.
And just one quick question on that. How significant and to what degree do the parents play a role in the development of the sport? You talk about the schools and you think about the participants.
Yes.
What role do the parents have?
نعم، نحن كنا يعني أيضا من الجوانب اللي وضعنا عليها كثير من التركيز أن القناعة بالرياضة ما تأتي إلا من خلال الأسرة. كيف نقدر نخلي الأسرة تدعم الرياضة بشكل عام؟ كان عندنا مبادرات، ويمكن من أهم المبادرات مبادرة بسيطة جدا اسمها توج ابنك. طلبنا من الآباء يكون جزء من تتويج أبنائهم. الفكرة كانت أن كيف نقدر نخلي الآباء أو أولياء الأمور بشكل عام يحضرون البطولة، يشوفون القيم الموجودة في البطولة. أنا أعتقد أن قدرنا نوصل بشكل عام لأولياء أمور الطلاب ومحبين رياضة الجيتسو من خلال دعوتهم، من خلال جعلهم جزء من الأحداث اللي نحن نقيمها.
Great, thanks. Khalid, can I just come back to you and just talk, could you talk us through a little bit about the Demand Speed Academy, its genesis, and how it's performing and how you evaluate its performance over time?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about something I'm very passionate about, and it's like my small baby. And I would like to thank Daman for helping us, bring this to light. Ever since I started in motorsports, I started quite late compared to the people I'm competing with. I'm talking about 20 years late. So when I look at the people I'm competing against in most races and I ask them, how old were you when you started? The oldest guy would be 13 years old, and the youngest would be as young as 4 or 5 years old. So that shows you, and that's no wonder why they're so competitive, and it's hard to compete at the world-class level. So ever since I had in my mind this idea to come up and set up an initiative, a grassroots initiative, to help build the future talent. And thankfully in 2013, as you mentioned, with the support of Daman, a very generous partner, and with a great ambition to help us to see this to light, we were able to bring this initiative to light. And it's in its 3rd year running right now. And I'm proud to see the young kids. We have kids as young as 9 to 16 years old competing in the local championship. We took them last summer to France to compete as well. One of them been to the Portugal World Finals last November, and they're performing amazingly well. I mean, I'm sometimes jealous and envious that I didn't have that opportunity, but I'm really, really glad to see them develop. And it's important to have such an initiative and to have many partners support us to see this going forward. We've just scratched the surface, to be honest, and there's a lot more to do.
And the trick is you talked about the importance of the championships, to having a very competitive racing environment to slot them into is critical. So that's clearly part of the development, to put them into these very competitive situations.
My main profession at Mubadara is head of HR, and the best development is on-the-job training. It's being on the races, doing whether football, having matches. So there's no better way than development and being in actual championships and races, and we have a good starting level here in the local karting championship, and we can build on. If someone is so good, then we take them to Europe. And we also would like to see them the single-seaters as well, where we start over here, and hopefully in the future we have people coming to our championships to develop as well, which is starting to happening as we see in the karting.
Ahmed, if I can just pick up again on the National Day. I mean, it's a very ambitious undertaking, because essentially it's the creation of a platform, multi-platform involving multi-stakeholders to come on board, whether they're facilities, sports federations, consumers, sponsors. How do you go about engaging? And effectively you're creating an economy within, it will have its own economy. How do you How do you effectively bring all those various elements together? And do you pitch it to sponsors first, find the money, and then go, how does it work? And,
For us, we just use our stakeholders. Let's say there is a sports council, there is a federation, there is sports groups who are really impacting our society. If you focus really in the sports in UAE, there is like, we are a multicultural country. So there is more than 200 nationalities over here. So it's like Olympic Village, that what Simon said before. So everyone are affecting each other by a different way. So we got all these sponsorship and all these, let's say, the private sector and the economic sector interfering in the sport day was huge. So the outcome was really positive and gave us, let's say, a clear image that sports will shape our future in terms of focusing, as Fahd said, in the schools. I will let him later mention about what they did in the sports day with the cooperation with the Abu Dhabi Sports Council to break the Guinness record, and how they, it was really best practice for me because they did very good job in that day. I think, in my opinion, and my humble opinion, this day will give us opportunity to change our mentality, our society mentality, to push our kids to be far from the very bad health, let's say, lifestyle they are doing now. Because we are really getting the very scary statistics from Ministry of Health. It's really giving all the, let's say, the sports society works on the new generation, works on the families. One good practice that really worked with was a cyclist coach. He got a creativity, Sheikh Mohammed Creativity Award. He really focused on his family first, and his wife really pushed the kids to be healthy. And they got, the youngest kid was Rashid. The coach name is Abdullah Suwaidan, and his kids was Rashid and Saeed. I want to talk about them because they are really a role model for me. They did a very good job to raise these kids to be a champion. One of them are a youth champion. He got the silver medal in an Arabic competition and golf. And the other one lately, he got 3 medals in Asia. So it was really huge for me because they did well. They set an example for the society that sports give you fame, give you a right way to.
And do you believe these stories, I mean, you know, I think we know the importance of a hero for the development of a sport, be it motorsports or whatever it is, jiu-jitsu. But do you find that the media is fully supportive, or do you find that there are in existence the means by which to get these stories out and share these stories? Because we have this story now as a function of this forum. I think so the channels exist, do the media support the promotion of sport within society?
I think our stakeholder participation in such forums give the ideas out there. The Fahd is talking about the jiu-jitsu. Tomorrow, Mr. Mohammed will talk about the soccer and how they are doing well in building the youth, let's say, community in the soccer. They are doing very good practices over there, but nobody heard about it. So I think the responsibility of the media is huge. So we have to use all the media, let's say, internet, let's say, such forum like this, conference, whatever is there to push the people to do sports in the right way. At the same time, in our goals, we will pick the elite who can represent us in different competition like abroad. But we won't push the society itself to practice sport. Whatever our leaders are doing from their packed schedule, they are practicing at least 1.5 hour sport. If you check their Instagram or their Twitter, they are out, we are going to running. Their picture, they are skydiving, they are running, they are biking. So this image, they should reach to the society. I think we are doing a very good job, and we are on the right path to accomplish something.
Ryan, if I could just come back to you, and you mentioned football actually, which is, as a minority, as a supporter of minorities, sports here in the UAE. Can you, and with your almost pre-academic hat on, your consultants, your role at IMG, how do you develop mass and minority sports in parallel? So it's not an either or.
I think there's some incredibly good examples actually here from the region, and I think it's about kind of sharing a vision and seeing the opportunities and the collaborations and the benefits to each other and partner working. We keep coming back to this concept of working in partnership and cross-fertilization in terms of both the knowledge but the activity. Something that I've always admired in Abu Dhabi is actually Yas Marina. This mass participation F1 circuit has actually been fundamental in the value chain of establishing triathlon, running, cycling in Abu Dhabi. It started with you guys opening up on a Tuesday night in 2009 for a few people, but creating that environment started playing a role in a value chain of collaboration. Actually meant that events have happened here, running events, triathlons. You've created an atmosphere where both the mass and the minority are feeding each other, and there's incredible lessons to learn from each other. And I think it's when that partnership and collaboration works where you see the greatest results, you see the greatest inspiration. Interestingly, we took Omar Noor, which a lot of people in Abu Dhabi will know, to Qatar. We had him speak to the Qatar Stars League players. And the reason we did is that Omar has a phenomenal story about how you can develop a business and a career. And he has developed one. He's a phenomenal athlete, but he's developed a business, even I would say bigger than his excellence as an athlete, by right brand proposition. And if you want to inspire a change and a professionalization in mass sport and football, having someone from a minority sport tell the story of being a professional 360 athlete is a phenomenal piece. Conversely, mass sport can give it a phenomenal opportunity. And I think it's that collaboration that really works. And the awareness that actually there is a shift. We talked about consumption today, and YouGov talked about consumption really from broadcast, but minority sport consumption is through participation. And our colleagues are talking about the inspiration of the leaders being seen to skydive, being seen to run. And if you come back to this inspiration, this intent, and I think it is nurturing both, but realizing the differences of both. One can be a phenomenal social health piece, the man or a role model in the region as to inspiring growth in minority sport because it leads to health and changes society. Mass sport has huge economic benefits. Tourism generated by events like the
So if you can create that
HSBC.
the connection between those flows.
And I think the key thing that's coming out is value chain.
Yeah.
We're talking about the success of jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is a value chain here from grassroots through to schools, through to the elite sport of inspiration. You're creating a value chain in motorsport from great top-level events all the way through to...
But that's, on that subject, and and for those who don't know, that's Omar in the red over there. And actually, I hope you don't mind, and to some degree, Khaled, I think it'd be true for you, and I see it in other motorsport professionals, is that you have to work as hard off the pitch or off the track to make what you do stick. I've seen you work so hard to generate the sponsorship, almost become an advocate for your sport. And it's absolutely the case for Khaled, absolutely the case for Omar. And it always seemed to me it's so unfair that you have to do 2, 3, 4 jobs when really what we should be doing as a sports economy is providing the means where you can focus on your competitive edge, can focus on your talent, and then be surrounded by it. Now, it seems to me that you've pretty much got it right as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned. You have this, it's a great example of how you seem to be fully supporting the talent and the sporting competence. I'm sure it wasn't always like that. How did you get it into that space where the competitors can focus 100% on competing?
أنا أعتقد في عناصر لأي لعبة وأي نجاح وفي عنصر مهم جدا عنصر ممارسة الرياضة ما في شك أن كثير من الرياضات بدأت توصل لمراحل من الشهرة والقيمة السوقية من خلال العناصر الموجودة. أنا أشوف أن في دور مهم جدا على اللاعبين، ولما نتكلم عن الجانب الثقافي للاعبين، الجانب الدور التعليمي، في دورين مهمين جدا، دور يعكس اللاعب أو ممارس الرياضة قيمته من خلال الرياضة اللي يقدمها ومن خلال التزامه. الجانب الثاني التعامل مع الإعلام. أنا أشوف أن اليوم في سهولة في نفس الوقت في خطورة. سهولة في جانب أن أي واحد ممكن من خلال السوشيال ميديا أنه يقدر يخلق له متابعين ويقدر يتكلم عن تجربته بشكل سهل جدا. في نفس الوقت المعلومة مهم جدا. أنا الخطورة في جانب أن المعلومة اللي طرحت هل هي صحيحة؟ طرحت بالطريقة الصحيحة؟ هذا الجانب. أنا في رأيي الشخصي مهم جدا ونحن نتكلم بشكل عام عن الصناعة علاقتها أو علاقة الإيكونومي الاقتصاد بالرياضة. تأثير الاقتصاد على الرياضة أو تأثير الرياضة على الاقتصاد جانبين مختلفين في رأيي الشخصي وعندهم يعني كل وحدة أسباب معينة. تأثير الرياضة في رأيي على الاقتصاد هو زيادة في الإنتاجية، لأن اليوم لما عندي عنصر قادر على أنه يكون رياضي فعاليته بتزيد في المجتمع وإنتاجيته في عمله راح تكون راح ينعكس ذلك على الاقتصاد. تأثير الاقتصاد أعتقد أن نحن في دولة الإمارات من خلال الجهات الموجودة المجلس اللجنة الأولمبية من خلال المجالس الموجودة عندنا حجم أو عدد كبير من البطولات اللي تستضيفها الإمارات. واضح أن يعني الإمارات باتت وجهة حقيقية للرياضة بشكل واضح وكبير. أنا أعتقد أن في مسؤولية موجودة على عاتق كل الجهات، لكن أنا أؤكد على أن التسويق الذاتي أو الفرد في الرياضة والعنصر الفرد في الرياضة عنصر مهم جدا في تسويق نفسه.
Khaled, could you tell us a little bit about your journey to success, but more importantly, how will it differ for the next generation?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my journey was one of those being the right person at the right place at the right time. And really making the most out of it. It's, as you say, it wasn't easy because I had to work off the track and outside the car much more than working inside the car, and it's been continuously that way ever since. And the new generation will have it in some ways easier, but also in some ways harder. We have now the facilities, mainly I'm talking about the karting tracks. It's easier to get into the sport. The culture is different. If I told my parents when I was 12 that I want to get into motorsports, they'll get so hyped up thinking that it will end up killing me. But now it's much more open, so it's easier access into it. And also we have the initiatives such as the Le Mans Speed Academy, which also takes people at young ages and looks for the talent. But it's also going to be a little bit tougher because they're going to be put against tough competitions ever from the starting point, and they're going to have to prove themselves the best in what they do. And we're going to have to filter and filter and filter, just what happens worldwide. So in some ways it's easier and good for us, and in some ways, they'll have to show much more competitive edge.
I think it's probably a good time to throw it out to the audience, actually. I have a number of questions here, but I'm mindful of time. Are there any questions? I don't know if the speakers are going, if the microphones are going around, but can we get some questions from the audience? Behind you, Andy, first, if that's all right. Can we get a speaker, microphone rather, to the lady there in the Thanks.
Hello. Okay, so my question is kind of a compilation of everything you all have been talking about. Because what I just heard you say is that the Emirates is a destination of sport, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so with the emphasis on youth sport development, are you saying that a grassroots campaign is necessary to build the Emirates' status as an athletic society in order to be the destination of sport? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, أنا يعني أعتقد أن الاهتمام بالمراحل السنية جزء مهم جدا من صناعة بطل أولمبي، ما في شك. اليوم ما نعتقد بنفسنا أن نحن في يعني وضعية مميزة وممتازة في الرياضة، لكن نحن في بداية الطريق وفي خطط موجودة من خلال رياضات فردية ورياضات جماعية لتطور الرياضة، لكن الاهتمام بالناشئين بالطلاب أنا أعتقد هي المرحلة الأولى والمحطة الصحيحة الأولى في بناء لصناعة بطل أولمبي. أنا أشوف أنه في جهد كبير من الإعلام من الجهات الرياضية في وضع خطط لصناعة أبطال. عندنا كثير من المشاريع اليوم الرياض الوطني، لكن في الأولمبيات المدرسية وغيرها من البرامج الموجودة الموضوعة لصناعة بطل، لكن يعني بنعترف أن ما زلنا في المراحل الأولى من البناء.
Can we get a microphone to the first row there?
Hi. How easy or difficult has it been to attract brands into your visions of talent development? And what are you doing to encourage these brands to participate in your visions?
Thanks, Andy. Andy is from our major sponsor, Daman, and they've been great in supporting us. And we've actually been working very, very hard ever since to get more brands and more companies involved in the sport. And we've had some good success. Recently, we've signed up new sponsors for our academy. I must say, though, it's economic situations are not so easy nowadays to get the major landmark deals that we had before, but still the story is compelling. The story is there. People love it. They understand it. They want to get behind it, and that's really a good starting point. And it's a continuous effort. It will be a part on the private sector to support us with their financial commitments. It's part of the government stakeholders as well to support this initiative. At the end, as Fahad mentioned, there is a financial return, but also there's a social element of it, which is very important as well for us to get behind. We all want to see a future champion. All the stakeholders' interests are behind it. This track, for example, we have Formula One now. But how long will we continue supporting Formula One if we don't have local talent competing in it? You saw Mexico go out of the calendar for decades, and they just managed to get back on the calendar because they have their own talent competing in the championship. There's a lot of value, which also Fahad mentioned, that can be created from an industry, the motorsports industry. You've got US and the UK alone have over 20 billion pound of turnover in this industry, with hundreds of thousands of participants and thousands of companies and tens of thousands of employees involved in it. So it's very, very important to get behind it. We've been getting good success, and thankfully Daman was a major pioneer in this.
Do we have any other questions? Well, with the panel, what do you think? And this is, there is, yes, second row from the back.
Yes, hello, thank you very much. My name is Nadeem from Tourism Culture Authority of Abu Dhabi. My question is for Mr. Al-Shamsi, please. I was wondering, with the success of the Jiu-Jitsu program in schools, especially for youth development, to combat sort of like obesity and inaction and diabetes, all those kind of things that plague our society, my question is two parts, please. Has there been any plan for a similar program which is maybe corporate or for adults? Because I know there's a lot of focus on youth development in Jiu-Jitsu.
For what?
Corporate or adults programs for Jiu-Jitsu as well that are not necessarily linked to professional or black belt standard. And also, my other question is, with the success of Jiu-Jitsu and the grappling sort of things, are there any plans for has the government sort of seen any value in other combat sports, given that Abu Dhabi has a very famous history with the ADCC trials and so on and so forth? A chance to sort of incorporate a larger picture of wellness and health in combat sports. Thank you.
Okay. السؤال الثاني، نحن كاتحاد جيوجيتسو مسؤولين عن رياضة الجيوجيتسو بشكل خاص، لكن مؤمنين أن رياضة الجيوجيتسو هي مجموعة من الرياضات القتالية أو رياضات الدفاع عن النفس، فيها كثير من الرياضات الثانية، رسلينج وجود، وفيها كثير من التكنيك نفسه. أنا أعتقد أن تطوير في رياضة الجيجيتسو في نفس الوقت يجر معاه كثير من التطوير للرياضات الدفاع عن النفس بشكل عام. عندنا خطط لتطوير هذه الرياضة أو لتطوير الرياضات الجانبية من خلال مشاركة أو شراكات مع اتحادات أخرى، وفي شراكة مطروحة على مستوى الاتحاد الآسيوي، شراكة بين اتحاد جيجيتسو والمول تاي. هذه من الشراكات اللي راح تضيف للرياضة بشكل عام وتعطيها تنوع وشعبية أكثر، لأن في سوقين حقيقيين للرياضة، والمول تاي واحد من الأسواق المهمة على المستوى العالمي والآسيوي. على الجانب الأول أنا أعتقد عندنا برنامج واضح لأبطالنا اللاعبيننا، عندنا مجموعة من اللاعبين وعندنا قياس جهد للاعبين من خلال بطولات مهمة. وأبغى أؤكد أن الإمارات لم تعد أو أبو ظبي لم تعد عاصمة لرياضة الجيجيتسو فقط. أنا أعتقد الإمارات أو أبو ظبي بشكل خاص باتت تصدر أو صانع سوق حقيقي لرياضة الجيجيتسو. اليوم في بطولات تنظم تحت مظلة الاتحاد في أكثر من 30 دولة مؤهلة كلها لبطولة أبو ظبي، وفي 4 بطولات مهمة بالنسبة لنا، أو تور جراند سلام أبو ظبي يسمح للاعبين بالاحتكاك الجيد، يسمح أيضا بنقل خبرات أبو ظبي على الجانب التنظيمي للعالم بشكل عام. ونحن كانت رسالتنا واضحة أن لاعبينا في التحديات القادمة وعندهم تحديات رسمية قادمة على المستوى الآسيوي وعلى المستوى العالمي. في مؤشرات مهمة لرياضة الجيجيتسو أن عندنا لاعبين جاهزين أن نكون أبطال على المستوى العالمي، كان تحت منظومة الاتحاد أو IOC اللي هي اللجنة الأولمبية العالمية، أو تحت المجلس الأولمبي الآسيوي. عندنا أبطال جاهزين وعندنا مجموعة من اللاعبين اللي قادرين على أنهم ينافسون. لكن أبغى أؤكد أن رياضة الجيجيتسو هي رياضة للجميع، هي رياضة تسمح فيها يعني للتطور دائما والاستفادة من الرياضات الأخرى. رياضة الجيجيتسو مجموعة رياضات أو حزمة رياضات وقيم. لو قدرنا إن شاء الله احنا واثقين أن عندنا أبطال على مستوى السنية ومختلفين. عندنا منتخب الأول ومنتخب باء وال18 و17 و16 وحتى 13 سنة منتخبات يشاركون في بطولات خارجية ومهيئين أنهم يكونوا أبطال في البطولات إن شاء الله القادمة.
Okay, will I answer? Good. Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to end it there. There's one, yes, photo finish, so yes, please. Could we get a microphone for one last question? I'm just mindful of the clock.
First of all, thank you to the panel. My name is Faris Zahabi. I'm a graduate from the University of Victoria. I just have a question directed to Mr. Khalid Al-Ghaisi. To breed an Olympian, it takes about 10 to 15 years, if we are being realistic. And we know that elite athletes only make up a small portion of the population. For those racers that you said you're going to filter out and only select the very best, what are you going to do with those that are not, or have not had the chance to make it to the elite level? How are they going to be part of the society and delivering an active lifestyle in our society?
That's the tough part of, to be honest, that I face when we look at this initiative, because you're going to have to say to the majority of the people taking part in this initiative that, sorry, but you won't be able to continue. And you'll have to find something else for them. Either they can take part in the sport, continue taking part in it, maybe as in different practices such as supporting the race drivers, and there's a lot of careers that can come out of motorsports. It's not just the driver, but it is tough. You'll have to just focus on the top, and you'll always be constantly filtering and trying to find that one person, because we don't have a lot of financial support, for example. So I'm going to have one bullet that I can fire, and I want to make sure it's going to be that bullet that's going to hit the target. So we're going through that right now, and we've had to let go of many kids, and we're still going to have to let go of more kids and keep on going until we find the right person and the right bullet to put in that gun and shoot it. Thank you.
I think just to add to that, I mean, I think your point about what do you do, well, and we talked about education and awareness and inspiration is actually, you know, if you have a huge grassroots system that inspires lots of people into sports, produces top ends, but you have a value chain where people understand the different roles, the different jobs, there's education opportunities. If you go around the world, I had the privilege at one point, before having the privilege to come to Qatar to work, you know, for the Supreme Committee, to work for IMG. And everyone in IMG, in some ways, is a failed athlete. And I don't mean that as a bad sense, but it's someone who understood that the opportunity in sport, the business, the inspiration they got as a kid meant that not succeeding at the top level wasn't a failure. But education, institutes like Jussur, universities doing sports management, the mix means that if people are aware and inspired, you don't lose them from sport, you build a sustainable sports industry. You know, if everyone who falls out of the academy or everyone who falls out of the jiu-jitsu program ends up inspired to work for a federation, to build a business, to run events, to be commercial, to be public relations in sport, to be a sports lawyer, what will happen is this entire region, the GCC and the MENA, will be a superpower in sport because inspired people from a grassroots level went to work and build an industry that is a world power.
Just as an example, in the local karting championship, when I go and see all the people involved are actually those kind of people, and the coaches we have are top level competitors which reach world finals, but then they didn't have that chance to get into continue their career, so they still stay with their passion. They continue as coaching, and that's what we're trying to get to do with the other kids. If they're really interested in the sport, they can take part in coaching, join our academy. They can support as engineers or mechanics even.
And that's the definition really of the sports economy. I'm in trouble now. Yeah. So, and that's the definition of the sports economy, where the competitor, failure is one word, but they can absorb that talent within the business. So unfortunately, as you can see, we've got to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your participation. I'd like to thank Khalid, Fahad, Ryan, and Ahmed for today's contribution. Thank you very much, and thank you for participating.